श्री कृष्णाय नमः। श्री गोपीजनवल्लभाय नमः। श्रीमदाचार्य चरणकमलेभ्यो नमः। श्री उसाई जी परमदयालवे नमः। श्री गुरवे नमः। नमो भगवते तस्मै कृष्णायाद्भूतकर्मणे रूपनाम विभेदेन जगत्क्रीडति यो यतः। बुद्धिप्रेरककृष्णस्य पादपद्मं प्रसीदतु। ध्यानासमर्थजीवानाम् अस्माकं सर्वदा स्वतः। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। प्रांशुपांशुत्वादिविशिष्टे द्विष्टविधौ विमुखस्य सदा नित्यावानविलासखतास्वनुरक्तधियो ममरुन्मधुपम्। स्वीये पदकमले करशन्तं हर्षोत्कर्षसुवर्षणदम् दीनोद्धरणविचतुरं प्रणमत गोपालं जगतीपालम्। गुञ्जापुञ्जाभरणनिचयम् चन्द्रकाली किरीटं गोत्रं वेत्रं करकमलयो पुञ्जितं चित्रवस्त्रं मध्ये पीतं वसनमपनं किङ्किणीं वक्त्रवेणीं नासामुक्तां तदधिमुदं तेस्तु गोवर्धनेन्द्रः। अमङ्गलानां शमनं मङ्गलानां महोदयं गोपाङ्गनानां सौभाग्यं गोकुलेन्दुं वयं नमः। नमामि श्रीद्वारिकाधीशं शोभया नित्यसेवितं शङ्खचक्रादिसंयुक्तं घनश्यामं चतुर्भुजं। नमामि श्रीबालकृष्णं यशोदोत्सङ्गलालितं पूतनासुपयःपान रक्षिताशेषबालकम्। श्रीकृष्णसमारम्भां वल्लभाचार्यवर्धिताम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रीमद्भागवताख्योऽयं प्रत्यक्ष कृष्ण एव हि स्वीकृतोऽसि मया नाथ मुक्त्यर्थम भवसागरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शुकरूप प्रबोधज्ञ सर्वशास्त्रविशारद एतद् कथा प्रकाशेन मदज्ञानं विनाशय। नाश्रितो वल्लभाधीशो न च द्रष्टा सुबोधिनी नाराधं राधिकानाथो वृथा तच्जन्मभूतले। श्री गोवर्धन नाथ की जय, श्री गिरिराज धरण की जय, श्याम सुंदर श्री यमुने महारानी जी की जय, श्री वल्लभाधीश की जय, श्री गुसाई जी परम दयाल की जय। कामस्तु वासुदेवांशो दग्ध प्राग रुद्रमन्युना। श्रीमद् भागवत सप्ताह, Day 7, in the loving memory of Shri Gulabsi Khimji. It's the beginning of the end and the end of the new beginning. How is it the beginning of the end? That despite being stipulated 7 days, the 7 days are coming to an end, but Bhagavad Katha is not coming to an end. Because the way Hari is Ananta, is endless, is limitless, his Katha cannot just be stipulated or confined to 7 days. What we want to achieve can be done in 7 days. But what he wants to give us can take beyond 7 births or can be finished in 7 seconds. Seven, a wonderful number. Talk about Indradhanush, the rainbow, 7 colors. Days, 7. The number of holes in a flute, again 7. The nakshatras are again in a multiplication of 7. And if you want to know the biggest excitement, the most awaited excitement of someone is actually not on Ashtami, but is actually on Saptami. The Janmashtami is on Ashtami. Similarly, despite Lord having 6 guna, the one who carries those 6 gun is the 7th one. He is the Dharmi. The 6 gunas Dharma, and the 7th one is Dharmi. There is a very thoughtful chronology which has been set in Bhagwatam. We might wonder a lot of times that why is it not streamlined like a Harry Potter movie, that the conversations in Bhagwatam, why are they spread across? This is the difference between a human creating a story and the divine creating a story. Something that has been shown over the period of 6 parts is finally culminated in 7th and the 8th part of the movie. In Bhagwatam, it's not just the culmination of the previous chapters. It's the culmination of Vedas, Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, context of Itihas, context of Ramayana, Kavya, and that's when the churned form of nectar comes out, and that is Bhagwatam. So many touch points are being mentioned in the Bhagwatam that even if we take 7 births, I think it will fall short to understand Bhagwatam completely. And people with humility and acceptance they don't expand after knowing too many things. They start contracting after knowing too many things. Now, how is this expansion and contraction is making any form of sense in the flow of Bhagavatam? There is a very simple thought process. Empty vessels make more sound. When you read Vidur Niti, or when you read various format of scriptures, in whichever capacity, see, any format of a scripture has a motto, has an objective, and has an outcome. There are Smriti Granths which are supposed to guide you for your lifestyle. There is Bhagavad Gita, which is like a manual for your life. It helps you in life management. Whereas Bhagavad is the one that prepares you for death management. Who prepares for death? I'm happy to see that it's not just the Eastern segment of philosophers who have acknowledged death, but even the current era of learned scholars, formidable speakers, leaders, renowned personalities, they also emphasize on not having regrets before the death. We're talking about Pradyumna's birth, but I'm talking about death, which itself is an irony right now. Because we are not Yudhishthir to know whether we have been victorious over the death. We never know when is going to be our last moment. There could be a chance that we might have already touched upon that death and might have come back. So how do you mentally prepare for death? Is why we need Parikshit, King Parikshit's character. We need King Parikshit's life story. We require the mindset that King Parikshit had when he knew he was going to die. How much ever fit you can be, how much ever ill you can be, your fate is going to be determined by either of the things. One, the karma that you do, and second, the grace of that Almighty. Tomorrow, let's just say you do ample amount of rhythmic breathing, and because of that, you slow down your breath to even, let's just say, 8 or 10 times in a minute. And since your life is not just calculated on the basis of the days, it is actually calculated on the basis of your prana. So even if you master the art of slowing down your breath, there's no guarantee that your lifespan is going to change. We think we are smart enough to do things and no one can get to know about it. But Pradyumna's birth story will help you understand that any form of action you do has a certain kind of reaction in return. Being the first child of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, as mentioned earlier, Pradyumna's responsibility is to create the further generations. Vanshni Vruddhi, Vansha refers to lineage, Vruddhi refers to increase or enhancement. That is the responsibility of Pradyumna. There's a very common saying in English. If you want to help someone understand the importance of a millisecond, ask a runner who has lost the race, who has come on the second place. Fraction of a second and it's done. Ask someone who has missed his train or bus by a minute. Will tell you the importance of that one additional minute that the train or bus would have stopped. And similarly, ask that mother, what does it mean to have a baby in the womb for 9 months? And once the baby is here, and in a few moments or in a few days, that baby passes away. Someone said seeing a baby born itself is bliss. Now imagine that once the baby is born, the baby hasn't died, but the baby is abducted. The baby is stolen away. Or someone throws away the baby in the water. As much as it sounds fascinating that sitting in the crowd of educated segment of people, we are that one nation who have been killing children as soon as they have been born. Let me tell you one thing. This thought comes out of ignorance. Even before you start planning about your own death, I have a strong recommendation to think about the next life that you're going to get. Because the next life which is going to come to this planet Earth, you might be thinking that creating the next generation is essential. The question is why? As much as we are well known for taking our family name forward and letting the female members of the family blending into the male segment of the society, family, male part of the family or the male side of the family. There are enough debates and conclusion around them. My question will always stand, why are you bringing a baby in this world? I understand it gives joy, I understand it gives happiness, I understand it gives moral compass, I understand it unites the family. All these factors definitely play a role. But we need something of a higher purpose to help us understand why is the next generation essential. On one side, we say that a mother is always selfless. But one of the Shastras have also said this, that the mother's selflessness goes away the day she questions that if I have done so many things for my child, why is that child not doing something for me? And as a human, it's a little bound for us to think that way. Imagine this, despite having everything, we still have to ask for something. And that's when you need an acharya like Mahaprabhu to guide you and to make you understand that the children that are being born in your house are not for pleasure, are not just for enjoyment, are not just because you want to take your lineage further. You are getting a child in your house in order to ensure that the Lord is served in future. Your service to Lord is not stopped. Now what happens with this child once that child is born? In protecting our dharma, in safeguarding our dharma, we keep the very same child away from the dharma. એ અહીંયા નહીં આવવાનું, ત્યાં નહીં જવાનું, આ નહીં અડવાનું, ઓલું નહીં કરવાનું. Be very honest with you. If my nana, if my nani, if my dadu, if my mom, if my dad, or if my dadi, if they would have done that to me, there could be a chance I would have been on that side of the strata as well. As a child, I was healthy. I was born very healthy. So my clothes changed every month. And it happened for a slight longer duration of time. So in order to maintain harmony in the house, I always used to wear, majority of the times I used to wear Kora Vastra. So I can revolve around anywhere I want to. And there are certain segment of children who are blessed. They can sit with anyone, talk to anyone, be with anyone, love anyone. They don't cry. They just be. The way a child is abstained from going towards the fire, if we'll abstain them from coming towards the mandir, they'll never come towards the mandir ever. And your affinity, you thinking that one day he'll grow and understand. Let me tell you one thing, his understanding has started right away. Now think from a child's psychology. You are stopping me to come closer to you when you are in that state of space. That means whenever you are in that state of space, I'm not supposed to enter there. And that pattern continues for 15 years. Or 16 years. And now all of a sudden, when your child has become a little more mature, he's 16, goes, or she's 16, goes to 10th standard or college. Now you expect that child to do Dandvat and Jai Shri Krishna and do the Peripona to Thakurji and then go out. And then what do you see? You stopped someone for 16 years and all of a sudden you expect magic to happen. I think it was one of the Maharashtrian sons. I think it is the story of Eknath. Might be wrong, but I'll tell you what's the story. Eknath ji used to go to the river, take a bath and come back. Someone used to spit on Eknath ji. This happened for 100 times. 100 baths in a day. What would you say if you had to take 100 baths in a day? sense of frustration can be felt right away. We're so speechless right now, we don't have any words to describe it. See, but that's the beauty of it. Eknath ji said, I got a chance to submerge my body in the holy river 100 times. And see what level of innocence is there. What level of innocence is there? One fine day, a mother-in-law couldn't cook and couldn't offer bhog to Shri Thakurji, samagri to Shri Thakurji. And she requests the daughter-in-law to do it. When the daughter-in-law cooks, her conscience is clean, she's not thinking about anything else. Her heart and soul dedication is there in the kitchen. She's making what needs to be made for Shri Thakurji, offers it to Shri Thakurji, comes out, waits for like 24 minutes, goes back, witnesses, nothing has moved, starts wondering that, you know what, I haven't made something right. I haven't done something correctly. Let me make it again. Second time she does that. Third time she does that, and now she's starting to feel physical agony. And that's when Shri Thakurji comes and tells us that, you know what, let me tell you something. First things first, you have fed me thrice. Your Sasuma has done it only once. Second thing, you have a disbelief, right, that I am not eating anything. Do me a favor, open this curtain and see me if I'm having food or not. Now, for anyone who has a question that whether the Lord accepts any format of food or not, if your conscience is clean, okay? If your conscience is clean, if you're doing from a test point of view, let me tell you one thing, you will fail. But if your conscience is clean, actually really clean, you even say the Yamnashtakam, offer the Jariji, and after the end of the day, if you take that Jariji back now, you'll surely see that the taste of water has changed. And if that is not happening, that means something is wrong with your conscience. That means somewhere you're only filling water to test whether the taste of water is changing or not. I'll tell you a story of some Vaishnavas in Saurashtra. A Chappan Bhog was being organized after some 100 years. The estimation was 6,000 people will come and take the prasad. Guess the number of people came and had the prasad. It was 19,000. 3 times the people coming in. Who do you think would have made food for 19,000 people? Tell me. But you want to know the second half of the story? There was still food for 500 people remaining, which had to be distributed to all the villagers eventually. Where is 6,000? Where is 19,000? The two different numbers. The poles apart. It's more than 3 times the value. But this is what belief can do to you, that logic cannot. For all my calorie cautious friends over here who have a concern in having a prasadam, let me tell you one thing. Once samagri is offered to Thakurji and the prasadam comes for you, the prasadam should not be seen from a mindset of a calorie. And second thing, prasadam is never eaten in this quantity. Prasadam is eaten in this quantity. Something that can fit in your... That's it. So if you're thinking from a calorie standpoint, you'll never like it. And if you're thinking that આ મંદિરનો આ પ્રસાદ બહુ amazing છે, all forms of prasad are amazing. It's just that your taste bud is talking instead of your conscience. But that doesn't mean you can't have a favoritism towards a prasad. But you need to understand that you can't differentiate on the basis of taste. It's prasad at the end of the day. Now it could be Navnit Priyaji's, it could be Dwarkadishji's, it could be Srinathji's, or it could be Gokul Chandramaji's, or it could be your house ke Thakurji. So it doesn't really matter. Prasad is Prasad. Same treatment is given to Srinathji's Prasad as same as your Thakurji's Prasad. There's no difference in it. There's no high voltage, low voltage difference there. And these are the segments, these are the principles, these are the thoughts, these are the vibrations that need to be transferred to the next generation. An external person can do from an external person's limit. The strength always lies in what internally people are doing. Pradyumna was abducted. Rukmini's first son is abducted, thrown in water. Pradyumna gets into the fetus or in the stomach of a fish. That fish is being caught by a fisherman. And fisherman's wife and fisherman finally find that baby. And after a certain segment of years is when Pradyumna reunites with mother. We only feel Draupadi's pain that Draupadi's children passed away. Think from Pradyumna's point of view as well. Child development is a topic which has been very well taught in Shrimad Bhagwatam. Child welfare, child enhancement, child development. And without conveying Sri Thakurji's story, how can you convey Pradyumna's story? It's as simple as Parikshit's story cannot be told until unless Yudhishthir and his brother's stories are told. That's why even before a Krishna avatar, happening in the 10th canto, Bhagavan Shri Krishna has already been mentioned in the 1st canto. Next comes the story of the first Central Bureau of Investigation which was being done by Bhagavan Shri Krishna, which is called the story of Syamantak Mani or Syamantak Jewel. There is someone called as Satrajit, happens to be a Yadav, happens to be Surya's friend, and also happens to be Surya's Bhakta. So can a Bhakta and a Sakha exist together? You have already seen Arjun, you have already seen Uddhav, you will see someone today. And here you have Satrajit. The only difference is instead of the Lord, is the sun god, is the Surya, whom he is confined with. What does the sun god give? The sun god gives a money, a jewel. What can that jewel do? The jewel can create gold. Now what happens with this Satrajit? Satrajit, when he gets gold, Bhagavan Shri Krishna gives him an advice that you should utilize it for people's benefit. But people with money cannot be advised. They feel offended, they are advised. And what happens when you have a know-it-all attitude? You live or you don't live, it doesn't really matter. Because after a point of time, your existence is not going to bother anyone. People will term you the way you are, and they'll get habituated with you, and they'll change the due course of behavior with you. So as much as money as a power will make you win, but if you start having that segment of ego, which makes you feel that I am something, is where you should definitely listen to what happens to Samantak Charitra in context with what happens to Satyajit. And someone who doesn't listen to Bhagavan Shri Krishna's advice, what will happen to him or her is something that you can understand from this charitra, this entire story, this entire katha. Whenever there is something attractive, a lot of people will have their eyes on it. It happened so that Satyajit had a brother called Prasen. Prasen ensured that he took away the gem. Brother. Now this Satyajit is now a little haywired, reason being the gem is gone. Now Prasen took away, and on the way while he was passing by, a lion comes and attacks Prasen. Now lion ensures that he kills Prasen. And now that jewel, that money, is with the lion. Lion enters a cave. And before entering the cave, not enter the cave, lion meets someone called as Jambavan. And the Jambavan ensures that the lion is defeated. And now the jewel has been taken away by Jambavan. So Prasen has died, Prasen's horse has died, the lion has died, and now Satyajit is blaming Bhagavan Shri Krishna that he is the one who has stolen my jewel. Allegations on Bhagavan Shri Krishna has not been the first time. During Makhan Chori Leela as well, Thakurji has seen allegations. The only difference was that time Prabhavati Kaki could have been handled. When you become elder, you need the right kind of proofs to validate whether you are innocent. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna is like, instead of me claiming you and telling you, let's do one thing, let's create a committee. And let's investigate how can we solve this crime, whether I am at fault or not. So they start trailing and they realize, okay, you see Prasen. Please note it in your FIR, Prasen was found dead. Do you see the money there? No, it's not there. Move forward, let's follow the trail. We see some more footmarks. So while we see the footmarks, they realize that now a lion is dead. Please note it down in your FIR. Now the lion is dead. Now the footmarks changed. They were of Jambavan. And Jambavan had ensured that he takes this jewel, he takes this money and retires in a cave where he had given the jewel to his daughter to play with. Now Lord decides that, you know what, I am going inside this cave. You all are welcome to come. If not, you all can wait here. Now the committee waited for certain days and eventually realized that Lord is not going to come back. Now, Jambavan and Bhagavan Shri Krishna are fighting with each other. While they are fighting, Jambavan started attacking strongly. And Bhagavan Shri Krishna realized that it's time to make him realize, who am I? So now Bhagavan Shri Krishna is asking Jambavan, do you remember anything? Do you remember someone called as Ram? And Jambavan is a little awestruck. These are not the direct words, but the entire conversation is made in a way to ensure that Jambavan realizes that since time and ages, his master has not been around, and now finally his master has arrived. And is it the right kind of an appropriate behavior to actually start fighting with the master or not? On the other side, Lord is requesting, I have to prove my innocence, please give me the jewel. Now see what happens when the Lord is asking for something. When the Lord is asking for something, Jambavan is saying, only and only if you are ready to marry my daughter. Not just the jewel, I'll also give you my daughter. Now remember Kubja? She ensured Bhagwan's tilak was done in a way that Lord is going to have 8 Ranis and 16,000 Patranis. Now comes the second wedding of Sri Thakurji, where Jambavan is ensuring that his daughter Jambavati is offered to Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Lord has come back with the jewel, and alongside a beautiful Kanya, a beautiful lady, a beautiful daughter, Jambavati, also comes along. This is what happens while you are dealing with a bhakta. Back in the time, we had Chavan Rishi, who got a daughter of a king, and daughter happily accepted it. Here Jambavati was blessed as Bhagwan's wife. The story continues even further. Lord gets married to Satyabhamaji as well. And the jewel that was there, apparently it gets stolen again. See, what can a jewel do? Please tell me, which is the jewel that is there in the British Empire? Kohinoor? Can you please tell me what is this Kohinoor exactly? What is the story behind Kohinoor? What exactly was Kohinoor? Before being known as Kohinoor is a question mark. I'm sorry? Okay. I think you might have understood the plot. Tell me, is the British Empire any happy right now? When you steal something that is not yours, it is only and only going to create trouble for you. Samantak was stolen again. And Satrajit is not going to dare again to say anything to Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Anything that's too precious needs to be taken care of. And here's where someone called as Shatadhanva and Kritavarma, they had created an alliance. In order to money heist, you need a team. So in order to heist something like this, something as small as this as well, you need a team. But Bhagwan Shri Krishna ensured that some way or the other, this has been taken care of. Now what happens when this jewel goes in the right hand? The legend says that eventually Syamantak Mani came in the hands of Akrur. Now this is the same Akrurji that we mentioned yesterday who transmitted Bhagwan Shri Krishna from Vraja to Mathura. And the same Akrur is the recipient of the jewel as well. But the difference between he getting it, Akrur also got happy when he got the jewel because the jewel was giving gold, good amount of man. Man is the Gujarati format of calculation of weight. A strong amount of man was being created on daily basis. And Akrurji ensured that this was being utilized for the right things. It was being utilized for a sacrifice. But when Bhagwan Shri Krishna got to know that Akrurji has it, but the intent of Akrurji was nice, that it was being utilized for a good cause. And now when the allegation came on him again that it's Bhagwan Shri Krishna who has stolen again, Bhagwan ensured that this Yamantak Mani is back. Because Akrurji was requested to come back, the Yamantak Mani was taken from Akrurji. And in the meanwhile, Lord decided that I have to do multiple other marriages as well. So he gets married to Kalindini, he gets married to Mitravanda, Satya, Bhadra and Lakshmana. Bhagwan Shri Krishna had ensured that the money comes back, and Akrurji is also liberated because of this jewel which was being kept with him. Because something that is not rightfully yours shouldn't stay with you for a longer duration of time. If you might have seen some Western or Hollywood-based movies, they have this concept called as baptism, which is like an evil segment of area. Or even if you might have seen Harry Potter, there's something called as Horcruxes. There are certain things or items that we don't touch normally. Similarly, there are certain ratnas that we don't wear normally. It's only worn because of certain occasion, or if you belong, or if you have that power to have that format of jewel or not. You might be wondering why do these Jyotish keep on prescribing us with various forms of stones? Because stones have certain segment of energy. If for all those angry segment of people, you might have been given something called as Chandra, a moti to wear. Because moti's job is to provide you Shitalta, it's to provide calmness, and that's what Chandra's role is. Chandra's role is to provide you calmness. Pokhraj, Guru on the other side, is known for bringing affluence in your life. It's known for bringing knowledge and known for bringing wealth at the same time. It's one of the most innocent form of a jewel ever. But in the process of knowing astrology, we lost the way in the middle. We only started looking for problems and solutions. We never understood the science behind wearing certain forms of jewels. Till this date, you go to any Vallabhkul Acharya's house, or even the Vaishnavas who have an understanding of how to do seva, they will ensure one thing. They offer a mala called as Navagrahi, a Navagrahi mala, to Sri Thakurji on occasions like Janmashtami, Radhashtami, Mahaprabhuji Utsav, Gosaiji's Utsav, and even Annakut Utsav. Or even Prabodhini for a matter of fact, where all the 9 jewels are embedded in some or the other format. The malas itself is called Navgrahi. Who will wear Neelam? Can you wear Neelam as a stone? Go ask some learned astrologers in your vicinity and ask them, can you wear Neelam as a stone directly or not? But Thakurji has no botheration in wearing Neelam. Because all the Ratnas, they fall short in front of Thakurji altogether. Now comes the question that why marriages of 16,000? Why Lord had to marry 16,000 ladies in one shot or princesses in one shot? There was an asur called as Bhaumasur and had captivated daughters of 16,000 kings. 16,000 daughters of various kings have been captivated by this one asur. Now imagine if this is happening in Kali Yuga, what would have happened? Something that couldn't be delivered back in the time when people wanted Ramchandra. And Ramchandra decided that I cannot have multiple wives. Is being conferred upon and completed in Krushna Janma. And a lot of people wonder how can one Swarup do the entire wedding? Nana gareshu tastriyah Bhagavan tavad roopadharo vyayah. For how many mandaps were made, or for how many kanyas were there, those many Bhagavan Shri Krishna were made. So in the current era, if you'll ask me, can I have two wives? I'll ask you one question. Can you clone yourself? Back in the time when there were multiple marriages allowed, it was a primarily known phenomena in the Kshatriyas. Reason being, a king took care of a lot of queens. And on the other side in Kali Yuga, 1:1 is something which has been advised. If you'll read history, a lot of times, a lot of authors might have said that this queen was much dearer to the king. But that's an author's perspective. And this question can never rise for Bhagavan Shri Krishna. For each and every daughter, for each and every queen, there's a king. And that king is Bhagavan Shri Krishna himself. So someone who's enslaving 16,000 women, they are nymphs, they are queens, they are princesses, they are goddesses, they are being abducted from various corners of the universe. And someone is liberating them. You want to know what is women empowerment? This is the finest examples of women empowerment. And mind you, the strata of the society back in the time was, the responsibilities were divided in a way that women used to take care of the house, men used to take care of business, men used to take care of warfare, men used to take care of external things, women were taking care of the internal things. No one considered them bad or good or equal or unequal on those lines. Everything was pretty much standardized back in the days. It's our segment of perspective right now that, oh, someone is a homemaker, because she doesn't have anything to do in life. Or she's a homemaker because she couldn't make it through in her career. Or she's a homemaker because, her family doesn't allow her to do a job. Please stop looking down on people who are homemakers. Because they're homemakers, na, that's the reason we are staying in a home. Otherwise, we would have been living in a house. And if you haven't understood the difference between a home and a house, then I'm sure you need a refresher course on what sanskars really are. Your 4 pillars make a house, but the emotions in them, the relations in them, the nurturing in them, the bond in them, the openness in them, a place where you can open out your emotions without any fear of judgment as to how will my mother or my father think, is considered to be home. It's not a place of strength, it's a place of weakness where you can be vulnerable. But yeah, that's what the Lord is known for. The Lord is ensuring that 16,000 wives have been taken care of. It happened so that Bhagwan Shri Krishna is having a conversation with Rukmini ji. Do you want to know the story in a little elaboration? In Bhagavad Ji, there is a place and time where in Dwarka, Bhagwan Shri Krishna and Rukmini ji are having conversation. See, we didn't have ACs back in the day, so pankha is something which is a common practice. Now, since pankha is a common practice, Rukmini ji is now fulfilling the duty of doing a fan. And Bhagwan Shri Krishna is enjoying that fan. But what happens when that fan starts touching your head? You take it once, you think it twice, you'll take it thrice, you'll take it multiple times. After a point of time, you will feel irritated. Worse come worse, the person on the opposite side doesn't even realize that, oh, you know what, the fan is hitting you. And something like this started happening between Bhagwan Shri Krishna and Rukmini. Now what is happening over here? Rukmini, while doing the fan, is thinking, oh, this is my father's fan, 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 this is my father's fan. And after a point of time, Bhagwan Shri Krishna is holding her hand, but this is my head. This is my father's head. This is not your father's head. To which she's taken aback, she's shocked. And in a line and in a statement, Bhagwan Shri Krishna says this. Hey, if you want to go, Shishupal is still waiting for you. And this happens so when you do love marriages. Yeah, you know their exes and you tease them with their exes. And then divorces start. Lord said, you are still desired by Shishupal. You want to go away? And the minute Rukmini ji hears that, boom. See, current segment of strata of society, men talking about leaving women can become the next day headlines in the newspaper, men threatens women to leave her. And then there's a lawyer statement, in the world of feminism and independence, how can men make such cult-based statements? Bichara one man makes a statement and the entire community of men is then defamed altogether. All these nice people in the world also start getting defamed, that all the men are equally bad. Bhagavan Shri Krishna made one statement and that really shocked Rukmini, and she faints. She faints very next moment. The reason of her fainting is not that Lord was teasing her. The reason of her fainting is that she was the one who wrote those 7 verses. And where she's surrendering herself is where the Lord is saying that, hey, do you still want to go back? where she's the one who's stating that, I don't want to marry Shishupal, and the same name is being teased by Lord. It's the intent that matters more than the action at that given stage. It's not the words that are saying, it's coming from a school of thought. And once again, Bhagavan Shri Krishna takes a different, from a Dvibhut Swarup, he becomes a Chaturabhut Swarup. With two hands, he's first tying the hair of Shri Rukminiji. One with the other hand, he's holding Rukminiji. And with the other one, he's ensuring that the same fan is doing the service to Rukmini. One thing that I've understood after reading a lot about Shri Rukminiji and Bhagavan Shri Krishna, that, and this is what I've seen in my house, and this is what I like in observing in any couple. The only thing I always look out for is how friendly they are with each other. Whether it's 1-year-old relationship, 10-year-old relationship, 20-year-old relationship, you've started maintaining those benchmarks of 25, 30, 35, 40, 50, whatever. And I think I'm grateful to COVID that the male's emotional intelligence of understanding a female has enhanced during the COVID days. The amount of hard work that has been put by women in the house and for the family has finally been started recognized by the male community of the society. If you feel so, good for you. I definitely feel so. I'm not stating it from an example from my own house. My house is blessed enough for that fact. But when we were conducting these online sessions, we did humongous amount of online sessions during COVID. Yeah, day, night, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we were evenings occupied 8:30 to 9:30, afternoons occupied between 5 to 6:30, and continuously right from Shodash Granth to Srinathji Charitamrita to Shiksha Patra to Vraj Parikrama to Girirajji Parikrama to knowing about Gita Ji to Seva Shloka to Subodhini Ji, right from the entire Bhagwatam, for a matter of fact, went for more than 500 hours. So while we were interacting, Shastri Ji had taken a major lead over there. Credit goes to him that, he invested so much amount of time. Getting an entire Bhagwatam done in 500 hours is a huge feat in itself. Getting Subodhini Ji involved in it, Bhagavata Prakran involved in it. And wherever there are no Tika Granths, doing some more additional amount of research and serving it to you, all Vaishnavas, all Shrotas, it's not a small thing. And we were blessed at that given point of time because there were like-minded people like you who were ready to listen to it. We can't be we if we don't have you. We can't be we if we don't have you. So while these interactions were happening with all these elders, they also starting, until now it was a scenario wherein one person of the family is listening for the katha. But now you start witnessing that because of COVID, the participation in any form of an activity, whether it might be laukik or alaukik, the couples are doing it together. Why is it essential for us to understand the lifestyle of Lord? We'll be touching upon this point in some time from now. While Bhagavan Shri Krishna had abducted Rukmini Ji, Rukmi at that time was saved, but he was very angry that despite in my presence, Bhagwan Shri Krishna could actually come and take away my sister. And Balramji ensures that Rukmi is taken care of, because now Pradyumna's son, his name is Anirudh, his wedding is going to come. In the 61st and the 62nd Adhyay of 10th canto, the Dashma Skanda, is where Anirudh's charitra has been enhanced. This is the same, this is the fourth vyuha of Bhagwan, Aniruddha. So it's Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. These four contribute as vyuha of Bhagwan. And they have their own individual responsibilities to take care of as well. However, I'd like to focus more on the story of after Banasur has fight with Bhagwan Shri Krishna and Banasur is delivered, there comes the story of this one king whose name is Nriga or Nruga. Now Nruga as a king is known for donation of cows. Till that extent that it has been glorified in a way that possibly that you can count the soil particles on the planet Earth, or you can count the number of stars that are there on the sky. But there's no chance you can count the number of cows that might have been donated by the hands of King Nruga. If you can calculate stars, Nruga has donated more cows than the stars as well. But he made one mistake. One mistake. For once, one cow that was being offered as a donation to one Brahmin, that cow somehow came back, and that same cow was donated to someone else. Now once you donate something, you don't get it back in return. It's not like those meetings wherein you announce a donation and then your check bounces. Once the donation is given, it's given. It's not yours anymore. But it happened so that Nruga, so these two disputed parties come to Nruga, and King Nruga is trying to settle them, and he's saying that I'll give you one cow each, I'll give you the compensation for each of them. They are like, you need to identify whose cow is this, because he got it first and then you gave it to me. Because Nruga couldn't come to a settlement, this was one small path that he did versus the numerous amount of benevolence or punya that he had done. And when the end time comes and Nruga goes to Chitragupta, by the way, Chitragupta is the accountant of all our goods and bads. So when he goes to that space, when he's being asked upon, what do you want to have first? Would you like to live all the punya, or would you like to live that one pap? Like, how much is the pap? You just have to spend some minutes on planet Earth and you'll be fine. Now, Nriga decides that, you know what, let's take the route of pap first. I just have to spend some minutes now, I'll spend some minutes and I'll be done. Now Nriga takes a form, stays for a while, but because becomes hungry, starts killing upon insects. And now instead of living only for certain minutes on planet Earth, Nriga, who was someone who was there in the Treta Yuga, has to sustain till Dwapar Yuga. So from various births, eventually King Nruga has taken a form of a lizard. More than a lizard, I think it's a chameleon. Yeah, it's a chameleon, not a lizard. Now this chameleon is lying at the bottom of the well where grandchildren of Bhagavan Shri Krishna are trying to play. And they wanted water, they couldn't get water, and that's where they find King Nruga in the form of a chameleon. Now Bhagavan had to do uddhar of this Nruga, and that's why Lord ensures that he touches Nruga, and eventually Nruga gets liberated. And Nruga also remembers the Lord and does Bhagavan's stuti. So an easy verse, we'll also try to recite it together. Namaste Sarvabhavaya Brahmane Nanta Shaktaye Krushnaya Vasudevaya Yoganam Pataye Namaha. Yesterday it was Sattvatam. Prior to that it was Yadunam. And today it is Yoganam. Who is he? He is the Brahman. What's his strength? His strength is Ananta. For Yamnaji, you sing the Ananta Guna Bhushite. Shiva Viranchide Vastute. How is Bhagavan's strength? Ananta Shaktaya. What are we supposed to do when we are in Seva of Shri Thakurji? When we are going to offer that Tulsi, one question had come, why not to tear Tulsi on the day of Dwadashi? So you're not supposed to offer Tulsi on the day of Dwadashi. Just to clarify a thought, no Rajbhog can be offered without Tulsi. So whenever you are plucking Tulsi, pluck it in advance so that you can take care of the Dwadashi at the same time. So there are certain segment of rules and regulations. But if you feel that's a botheration for you, you can do it in advance and keep it, and you can utilize it on the day of Dwadashi. That was one question that had come by in context with Tulsi. No Rajbhog in the world goes without Tulsi. Now, there's a small thing that you all need to remember. There's a word written over here, Padau Spruštva. Padau Spruštva. Padau refers to the feet, and Spruštva refers to touching of it. Please tell me the benefit of touching the feet of elders. Why are we touching feet and why are we not touching the head? So doing this is enough. सूर्य नमस्कार मागे अर्थ करो. But because for people like me the tummy comes in, so we just squat it and do it. But why feet? And why not this? Some people do pranam here. Gothandne pranam kar. There'll be sometimes people will do pranam here as well. Why the feet and why not anything else?
I think I remember you said something about the energy.
I want to see if they remember it or not. Padav spruštva. Where can a das be? A das can be in the feet of the Lord. And let me tell you one thing, even if that Lord is going to touch the feet on us now, on our head, only good things are going to happen to us. न करिष्यति लौकिकीं च गतिं निवेदनं तु स्मर्तव्यं सर्वथा तादृशै जनैः सर्वेश्वरस्य सर्वात्मा निजेच्छातः करिष्यति. निजेच्छातः करिष्यति. He'll do whatever he's supposed to do. It's my responsibility to accept whatever he is doing. And padav spruštva. So you're not supposed to touch one feet. Padav. Pada, padav, padaha. Padaha to na આવે. ક્યારે આવે? જ્યારે ભગવાનના હજારો પગ હોય, when you read the Vedas at that time, you read it that way, that's a different ballpark altogether. But જ્યારે ભગવાનના શ્રીચરણ બે છે, સહસ્ત્રપાદ છે, નથી એવું નથી, પણ એ પુરુષ સૂક્તના પોઈન્ટ ઓફ વ્યૂથી છે. સહસ્ત્ર શીર્ષા પુરુષઃ, સહસ્ત્રાક્ષઃ, સહસ્રપાદઃ. Padav, padav is two. So you're supposed to touch 2 feet, sir. 2 lotus feet of Lord. Now, which one is supposed to be touched first? Your right hand and Lord's left leg, Lord's left feet. And how are you supposed to touch it? You are supposed to touch this way. If this is the feet of Lord, are you supposed to touch this way or this way? Now just imagine this, the feet is like this. Are you supposed to touch the upper part of the feet or the lower part of the feet? Padav spruštva in the format of a grahya. And that's why my elders had suggested it in an even simpler format. This is what Pradyumna Shastri ji taught me. Just touch it this way. Touch the lotus feet of Lord this way. So that you've touched two feet at the same time. So if you're doing this way, that's not an issue. But you are accepting the blessing, right? How can you accept it when your hand is like this? So that's why you might have seen we doing Charan Sparsh like this. It's only when you have a Balakrishna Lal Prabhu, whose legs are at the back side, you'll end up doing it this way. Baki, if you have Chitraji at house, or you have Dwarkadish ji at house, or you have Chatrabhut Swarup at house, or you have Madan Mohan ji at house, or Gokulnath ji at house, they're all standing Swarups. So you can do Charan Sparsh like this. And where you can't touch the lotus feet of the Lord, you are supposed to touch the Gadiji of Thakurji. Like on Janmashtami, Radhashtami, Nand Mahotsav, all of these days, the Shringar are too heavy. You might find it very difficult to find the lotus feet of the Lord as well. So at that time you touch the back side of it. Where do you think it should be? Technically it goes backside. So either way, it needs to be closer to the feet because one is ahead and one is at the back. Whichever you can prefer. Can stay at the back side, not an issue. The Charan Sparsh happens like this. It's left, right, left. left of Thakurji, right of Thakurji, left of Thakurji. Then what are you supposed to do? Left, right, head, heart. That's it. There's no here. There's no here. A lot of people have a 25 varni habit of doing this way. There's nothing like that. It's Aankh, Buddhi, Hriday. Why Hriday last? For a sthir vas of Sri Thakurji. The Lord eventually has to reside in our heart. The other reason why when you go to do darshan, you always have your hand over here. Why do you have your hand over here? So that you reaffirm the Lord that wherever you are, you have to reside here. The darshan that I'm doing has to be resided over here. I'm not sure if you're going here or not, but you have to be here. So please, it's left, right, head, heart, no other organ. So even if you have a small baby at the house, let's just say, so I'll tell you one format. I'll tell you the importance of various things. You go to any mandir, they give you some prasadam in return. Right? You offer something and they give you something in return. The methodology for us for seeking blessings is still going to remain the same. It's this and this only. But we don't have a father or a mother and the Holy Spirit in that. It's our chakshu. Why? Because we do the darshan because of that. The mastak, why? Because the buddhi lies over there. And the hriday, because that's where the Lord eventually has to. Namami hrudaye sheshe. Hrudaye refers to your heart. And the second thing, if you go to do Srinathji's darshan, see, certain swarups you can evidently do darshan. Like swarups that are at least humongous in height, humongous in size, you can do darshan. Charnaran can be clearly seen. Like even during the days of this Holi, where Mojaji is being offered, you can still do Mojaji's darshan. You can understand that Shri Thakurji's Charnarvind are over there. Now the same possibility is not there with a Lalan Swarup, and the Sampradaya has this much understanding. But the darshan technically starts with the lotus feet of the Lord. You would ask me a question about Aarti. Now the original format of Aarti, which is being done in any learned Vishnu Bhakta, will do Aarti 4 times of the feet, 2 times of the navel, 1 time of the Mukharvin, and 7 times of the Swarup. 4 of the lotus feet, 2 of the navel, that is Nabhi, 1 of the Mukharvin, that's the face, and 7 times is of the entire Swarup. This is how technically, as per the scriptures and Aarti of any form of Vishnu Swarup is done. Now you take Narsimhaji, you take Ramchandraji, you take Hari, you take Madhav, you take Govinda, you take Jagannath, you take Dwarkanath, you take Sri Rangnath, anyone. What are they currently practicing? I don't know. But this is the Shastriya format of it. That Vishnu, when Vishnu's Aarti is happening, this is how it needs to be done. Same format. Ma age bhavna thi ke ubha chhe, thada chhe. Same format. That time then you continue in the multiples of 7. Chha gun dharmi, simple. So that's why learned acharyas now what will they do? 7 this, 7 whole, and then they'll increase their periphery and do 7 more. That's how they'll end up in 21. Yes. Yeah, sure. Why not? That's my favorite topic. the male society members ensure that their entire body goes on the ground and they surrender in the form of a dandvat. The female utilize their 5 limbs because there are certain restrictions on the body parts of the female touching the ground. So it's a semi-fold format of dandvat which is being done. While males completely lie down and do the dandvat. When is this possible? When you realize that as a jiva, I can only do this much. I can't do anything more. When you start having that form of humility, is when you start doing dandvat much easier. So the word is dandvat and pranam put together. Dandvat is the action, and your head bowing down is the pranam part of it. And whom do you do dandvat pranam to? You do to Thakurji, you do to your guru, you do to your acharya. Now Thakurji can be in any format. Thakurji can be in the format of the swarup that you have in the house, can be in the form of Bhagwatji, can be in the form of Girirajji, can be in the form of Dhwajaji that comes in your house, can be in the form of Vastraji which is there in your seva, can be in the form of Mojaji which is also offered in replacement in the form, again in the swarup of seva, in the form of a seva. So anything in context with Thakurji itself or in the periphery of Thakurji is done dandvat pranam. So is our acharya. Yeah, they can do Shashtang. Yeah. If not, they do semi-fold. Panchang. Pancha anga, panchanga. Ashta anga, ashtanga. That's how the dandvats are done. No, you can do them. The deities can be also done. But jano Paramatma hoy, jano Bhagwan hoy, and pachi deities also you do dandvat. Ladies don't do ashtang. Ladies do only panchang. I think yesterday he only did ashtang. Yeah, you did ashtang dandvat yesterday. Yeah, I saw him pretty well. He laid completely. And so see the nature, see the beauty of Thakurji. We were talking the same topic and he happened to come right now. This is the format of greeting. And the greeting, it's all psychology. You are humble. How do you showcase you are humble? You do dandvat. One of the other reasons why when you're sitting for a puja or when you're sitting for an akhyan or when you're trying to listen to someone, you don't sit from a sign of arrogance wherein, hey, you know what, I know something. And this is the same Charnarvind which everyone is lusting for. This is the same Charnarvind everyone is asking for, and that's the same Charnarvind even Dhruv Raja is touching eventually. But apart from learning that you're supposed to do the dandvat to Shri Thakurji, you're supposed to take the Charan Sparsha of Shri Thakurji. Now, can this format be utilized for your father and mother as well? There's no objection in it. As much as you can do the 2 hand, 2 feet pranam at the straight point, you can even do the pranam in the same format to your elders as well. There's no question mark there. But the touching part remains the same. The blessings still remain the same. Some people have habit of going over there. तो ये लग रहा बुद्धि मत रही जाए. અહીંયા પહોંચતું જ નથી. You can do it. You can do it in that, not an issue. What is the other learning that you need to receive from this entire Charitra of Nriga? First, the other learning that you need to have is, when you take away the wealth which is meant for a Brahmin, when you take a Brahmin's property, thinking that you will enjoy it, it is actually even deadlier than the halal wish. One of the other reasons why very, very, very known segment of people didn't take money from Brahmins, thinking that it might lead to poverty, or thinking it might lead to things that are not supposed to be done. But the intent behind that is not taking money. The intent behind that is taking Brahman's property for enjoyment or misutilizing that property is considered to be as deadly as a poison. So here the definition of Brahman applies to the Brahmin at the same time, and the intent also needs to be applicable, that it's being utilized for enjoyment. Having said this, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, instead of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, Balramji is someone who visits Vraj. And someone who pretends to be Bhagavan Shri Krishna, whose name is Mithya Vasudev, is being annihilated, is being destroyed. Paundrak and the king of Kashi have been liberated. Dvivid is a monkey which is being killed by Balram. Balramji eventually gets angry on the Kauravas. And Samba, who also happens to be a Yadu, his wedding is being organized. I had mentioned something about the lifestyle of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, and why is it important for us to get an idea about it. Through Naradji's grace, we will now try and see Tam Sanniriksha. Sanniriksha. That means we will try to witness Bhagavan Shri Krishna's lifestyle. What is he like in the house? So the minute we wake up, what are we supposed to do? Karagre vasate WhatsApp. Karamule to Facebookam. Karamadhye to Snapchatam. Prabhate mobile darshanam. Correct? Right? Mobile astha tuya vidya, mobile astha param dhanam. Karyakale samayate na sa mobile na tad dhanam. How many of you all love loud mornings? Loud mornings. Your mornings are very loud. Loud means loud. There should be good sound, good music, strong vibrations. Loud. Metallica. No, right? Why? Why? First of all, tell me one thing. Yesterday I spoke about that we can't live a lifestyle of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Then why do we need to study his lifestyle? Think about it. Think about it. On one side, I told you that we can't live like Bhagavan Shri Krishna, but on the other side, I'm asking you to understand his lifestyle. Why? To know our limitations? Fair. See, first day and last day we'll have questions. Huh? In the middle, I was kind enough. I didn't bother you much. But since we are creating history, let's create a history with a bang. There might have been English saptahs done in other formats of the sampradayas. But for us Vaishnavas, this is happening for the first time. And let's take pride and close it in the right way. If on one side I'm telling you that we can't live like Krushna, then why is it essential for us to learn his lifestyle or to understand his lifestyle? For anyone who has this thought that whether the Lord is actually doing things that is being prescribed in Dharma or not, this question mark goes away the minute you start understanding what is his lifestyle really like. The way you all don't like a loud morning, Bhagavan also doesn't like a loud morning. Would you like a loud evening? Evening. I'm not saying night. The definition of evening and night are two different things. I'm talking the time of sunset. Would you like a loud sunset? That's my definition of evening, by the way. No. On one side, we claim that evening is a time where Shivji comes down with Nandi and visits everyone's house where satsang is happening, or visits those houses where there is the lamp which is being lit, or the Harinam is being taken, or to the Brahmins who are doing Sandhya at that given point of time. Similarly, if we consider Bhagavan Shri Krishna's lifestyle, evening times he likes to ensure that he is sitting and doing his Sandhya, he is doing his jap, and at the same time he is refraining from speech. But if you ask his morning routine, then he wakes up at the time slot that we might not be able to wake up at, which is the Brahma Muhurta. There's a very small incident in Pushtimarg. One fine day, Shri Mahaprabhuji's elder son, Shri Gopinathji, was about to do seva. And he was about to ensure that the Lord is going to awake. Now when he looked at the Lord, he was like, he's so sweetly sleeping, how can I even disturb him? To which he went to his father, Shri Mahaprabhuji, and requested that, Lord is sleeping. He's deep asleep, how can I disturb him? And the time of sunrise is also coming, so I have to take care of two things at the same time. Fair. So Mahaprabhuji is instructing Shri Gopinathji that you recite this verse in front of Shri Thakurji and just request him to get up because the sunrise is going to happen, and see how he reacts. So Gopinathji goes back, requests Shri Thakurji that the sunrise is going to happen. Please do grace on me. Kindly wake up. So when you request him peacefully, he'll peacefully abide by it. But when you do a hasty job, just because you have a commitment to take care of, when the right time comes and you need to be when he needs to be committed to you, do you think he'll fulfill his commitment to you? As simple as that. And what he does after waking up, there is not even a Karagre yet. Before Karagre, there is Vayu Sprushya, Vayu. When we were children, I would like to say we are still children, we learned these verses of Punya Shloko Nalo Raja, etc. Or you might have heard about Ashwathama Valirvyaso. Or you might have heard of those 5 blessed women as well. I forgot the shloka. Ahalya, Draupadi, etc. Correct. And if you read Vratotpadhyapan Chandrika, or you read Gita Press's your Nitya Karma Samuchya, or you read the detailed Nitya Karma Samuchya, which has been written by the learned Pandits, where they're a compilation of the entire Vedic suktas, mantras, and your lifestyle. So many Pratha Smarit are being utilized over there. At once you are remembering during the Pratha Samay, that's your morning time, you're remembering Shri Ganeshji, you're remembering Vishnu, you're remembering Matruka, you're remembering, Shivji. So in the Maryada Kram as well, there's a stronger segment of remembering of goddesses in the morning. And since that day, Masiji was asking me what to do in the morning. If you read the Pushtimargiya Kram, there are 33 dandvats that have been written. સવારે સૂર્ય નમસ્કાર કરવાની જરૂરત નથી, 33 દંડવત કરો, વજન ઓટોમેટિકલી ઘટવા લાગશે. 33. 33 દંડવત્સ. ગુસાઈજી, ગોપીનાથજી, 7 બાલક, 7 સ્વરૂપ વગેરે 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 કરીને there are 33 દંડવત્સ. And there is a verse attached to each dandvat as well. And when is it supposed to be done? Even before you enter your temple, the door needs to be the dandvat. And in Pushtimarg as well, if in the morning, if you want to recite certain segment of verses, Mangalacharan is to there only. But there's a specific 5 verse ka compilation which is called Pratha Smarit, which is the Pratha Smaran Stotra altogether. Pratha Smaret Bhagavato Vara Vitthalasya Pada Aravinda Yugalam Sakalartha Siddhyaihi. If I'm not wrong, it's Purushottam Ji will return it. But your morning doesn't just start with, your alarm clock. Once there was a scenario, Sri Raghunath Ji, 5th son of Sri Gusaiji, woke up one day in the morning, and look at the commitment that he has. He didn't open his eyes unless he saw Sri Gusaiji first. And in the meantime, he would get hurt. Why? Because something or the other would come on his way and he would start bleeding or start getting hurt. To which Sri Gusaiji thought, let me do one thing. Let me create a portrait. And he gave it to Gusaiji, Sri Raghunath Ji. Now Raghunath Ji, instead of waking up and going to Sri Gusaiji, he just looks at the portrait. So I'm not surprised if someone is holding a murti of Ram. Recently, on my journey to Porbandar, I happened to interact with a Vaishnava from Rajkot. Chartered accountant. He had a habit of reading books. So I asked him, do you work out? Like, back in the time when I started working out, I used to go out. I used to go for a walk. And then he said such a good thing in a Saurashtra language. Savarna hu modha, lokona dacha joana. Why should I attract the wrong kind of energy in the morning by looking at weird people? I'll rather work out at my own house. Your morning time slot is supposed to be for your own self. And morning is the worst time to irritate someone. Worst time. Already they are dealing with a lot of things, there are a lot of thoughts which are there in their mind. And morning is the only time slot when we start troubling them and asking them, what is your plan, how is your plan, what are you going to do? Please tell me your entire detailed layout. ये चीज रात को करने में तुम्हारा कुछ जा रहा था. Then you need motivation to read 5 a.m. club. to understand that the morning time slot is where your testosterone are on the top, your dopamine is at the top, you have happy hormones in the right space, your sleep cycle is fine. That means there's no stress, there's no anxiety. You are aligned with the nature's due course of time. Your sunrise and the sunsets are the maximum energy segments. Your maximum energy is there while the sun is at the top, so that's your afternoon. That's the time slot where you need to have maximum amount of food, because your food intake also has a relation with the movement of the sun. That's why Raj Bhog is considered to be the humongous amount of feast in the format of samagri as well. Now we all end up offering only doodh and some mathadi to Shri Thakurji. But if you understand the actual crumb, it has dahi, it has makhan, it has fruits. And next time, when is the next time slot where the fruits are being offered? Utthapan. Shayanma fruits are not offered, because night is not a good time to have fruits. Now if you'll tell me my Pushtimarg is not scientific, please after the katha meet me. Your Ayurvedic lifestyle has definitely been incorporated in Pushtimarg. This is the only time slot till Vasant Panchami, or maybe a little more, till Srinathji's Patotsav. You will consume something called as Saubhagya Soot, Sohag Soot. So as much as we talk about that science and the dharma always walk together and all of these things, we can't be only open about the things that we want to be. We need to accept the other parts of the society, other parts of the principles, other parts of the thoughts that are being there by dharma for science as well, or for science with dharma as well. And what is Bhagwan Shri Krishna doing at the end of the day after waking up? You can see it in the picture, dhyana, meditation. Why is it essential? We all know it reduces stress. It helps us cope anxiety. We all know it helps us enhance our emotional health. Empathy, emotional quotient empathy. When we can understand from someone else's shoes, that's when empathy steps into the picture. For all those people who have issues with focus, meditation is the solution. And I've heard this multiple times, but there was a research paper there was a research done on people who live in India versus the people who live in foreign. Alzheimer's as a disease is a very lesser common disease which is there in India, and it's a highly provoking disease in the Western world. People have loss of memory at a very younger age over there, in the old age as well. And we are blessed, even if our ba is 90 or 92 or 85, doesn't really matter. They remember. Memory is sharp. Your soul requires nourishment. And you need to nourish your soul. And that nourishment of soul is a package at the end of the day. My friend was advised to not utilize mobile phone till a certain extent of time in morning. Because utilizing phone in the early segment of the day itself causes a lot of issue because your screen time enhances. After a long request and a front and back with that friend, finally the person started abiding, and there could be some differences seen within a span of 7 days in that human being. 7 days. Bhagwan is also someone who does jap. Bhagwan is also someone who does sandhya. Bhagwan is someone who respects time. Bhagwan is someone who does meditation. I'm sure these are not so tough principles that we can learn from Bhagwan, and we can also implement them in life. And I like to touch upon one last point. There's a difference being alone and there's a difference being lonely. Alone is good, lonely is not. But spending time with yourself alone is definitely something which has been prescribed by scriptures. Because that's your time for evaluation. That's your time for self-evaluation. Understanding your strengths and weaknesses can only happen when you're sitting alone by yourself. As much as you have a mentor, see, remember this one nature of a cow. Cow will graze, consume whatever she has to, go to a fine spot, sit over there, bring back that food, churn it, chew it again, and then ensure that the food has been taken. The amount of information that you are letting inside your system, there's only incoming. Where's the time to process it? That day, I was kind enough. Dhiren gave me an answer of how fast is Big Billion, or how far was Big Billion. With the tip of a second, he could give me an answer thanks to Google and search engines. It's easy for you to get information. But how about processing that information into wisdom? Yeah? Your brain works if so, but then, right? These are the four things which are continuously booming in your mind. If then, but so. So if someone is telling you that Lord is someone who meditates, so now if I change this question, if you could meditate, but no, you getting information, but how about processing that information, discarding the information that is not needed? That's why I told you. I think in the initial stage of Bhagwatam, I said there's a need of unlearning and relearning certain things. Like Charan Sparsh is a very common thing. Well, we need to unlearn how we used to do it, and we need to relearn how it needs to be done. So we know what needs to be done, it's just that the methodology of it needs to change. One day, me and Jaidev uncle were having conversation about Ekadashi. I went to his house after an hour. He's like, "Anat joy to nati khao." And the wisest segment of people are who know when to react and how to react. The reaction is wisdom. Jarasan is a king who has captivated a lot of kings under him. And Bhagwan Shri Krishna is someone who is giving some kind of guidance to the Pandavas while he visits Indraprastha. See, I've told you before, Bhagwan stays in Dwarka, but where does he go again and again? Hastinapur, Indraprastha. And all those places where at that given point of time where Pandavas used to stay. Now, what are we supposed to do when Bhagwan is visiting Indraprastha? Wait for him to reach? No, it's a swifty thing for him. But the next thing that's going to come by is when Bhagwan Shri Krishna utilizes Dharma to enhance the boundaries of the kingdom of Yudhishthira. Instead of establishing into a war, Lord is saying, why don't you do one thing? Why don't you do something called as Rajasuya? please tell me one thing. If there is a family function going to happen at your house, whom do you invite first? Thakurji. Okay. Do you invite Thakurji alone or you invite with his family? Now, how many family members does Thakurji have? Please tell me. 1608 wives. 16,008 wives. Sorry. Every wife had 10 kids. 10 kids? No. 11 kids. 10 sons and 1 daughter. Now please multiply. 16,008 multiplied by 11. Can someone do it for me? Dhiren, please help us out. Yeah, father is already on it. Let's see who beats father, son, father, son, father, son, father, son. 1,76,088 plus Bhagwan. Now by mistake if you write Bhagwan plus Sah Parivar. Fair, understood. તમારું બજેટ હોય 300 લોકોનું અને 1.5 લાખ લોકો આવી જાય તો શું થાય? So what we did, we found a middle way. Let's do a Manoratha at Nathdwara. But tell me one thing, while a family function is going to happen, who should enjoy the most? You have a family function at your house. Who needs to enjoy the most? Yeah, of course. Who should enjoy the most? Guest should enjoy the most. Fair. Apart from that, the host. Fantastic. The host should enjoy. Same concern I have. Your house, your function, the eldest member of the family should enjoy. Now please tell me, who's the eldest member in your family? You might have a 99-year-old Ba in your house. Thakurji is 5,000 years old. Bolo. You want to argue with that? Sure? Now, should he be happy or no? Now, how can he be happy? The way you treat yourself with new things, how about trying to treat the Lord the same way? Let's just say you have an arrangement of, until now, just giving you an example, just giving you a perspective. You purchase $66 grams of gold. Now, instead of purchasing 66, if you have the budget, can you make it 70? Can you take that 5 grams of gold and can you try making a Sone ka Venu or a Sone ka Vetra, and can you offer that to Thakurji when a marriage is happening at your house or a good news is coming at your house? When you know you're already going to utilize gold, how about going a little extra mile, and before utilizing it for our own self, first we utilize it for the Lord, we get the other ornaments made, we offer it to the Lord before the marriage or the function is going to happen, and then we utilize it for ourselves. How easy or difficult is this? Dhiren, if you get a new watch, will you wear it first or will you give it to your dad? Tell me. Sweet. That's the same thing which is there in my house as well. And this is supposed to be in everyone's house. Because that materialistic life is coming because of him. See, how, till what extent can you be submerged in this thought? I want to just give you an example of it. You all have keychain holders. In Pushtimarg, they are known as Jhumka. Why are this Jhumka ji there? It should help you remind that this is from a Bhavna of Yashoda ji and this Jhumka ji are nothing but the keys of the Lord ka temple. The intent for you is to remember these are not mere keys. This is a gateway to paradise. This is the depth of love. And that's why even you are supposed to expand in your life. Do it in a dharmic way, and that's exactly what has been prescribed for Pandavas in the Rajasuya Yagna. They have to expand. How are they supposed to expand? They are supposed to defeat certain kings in and around them. And while that is going to happen, Pandavas are doing this because of Govinda. The Yagna is happening because of Govinda. Now, we might be wondering that these Pandavas are normal humans like us. Bhagavad Ji has a perspective on it. The Pandavas are Ansha or the avatar of the various Devtas. Yudhishthira is Dharmaraj himself. Bhima is Vayu. Arjuna comes from Indra. Nakul Sahadev come from Ashwini Kumars. So they are not commoners like you and me. And since they are not commoners, please don't treat their lifestyle in a common segment either. You can learn things from them and you can try and applying those qualities in you. Now, in this very same yagna, various roles and responsibilities are given to people. Guess who takes care of cooking? Why Bhim? જે પોતે શોખીન હોય ને બીજાને જમાડી શકે. નહીંતર પ્રશ્ન પૂછવો પડે શું જમાડો. Internal joke. If you have a taste bud, you'll be able to give that taste bud to someone else. As simple as that. What is Draupadi's responsibility? Then who takes care of serving? You know how males serve? You ask for it and they'll get it. How do females serve? You don't ask for it and you still get it. Like she'll observe, okay fine, you know, athanu is over, she'll get it for you. Chutney is over, she'll get it for you. Water is over, she'll get it for you. And who was handling money? Who was handling money? Your half brother Yudhishthir. Your half brother Duryodhan. Duryodhan is given the responsibility of handling money. And here's the space and time, just because your relative is going to do you are doing something, not necessary that your relatives are going to be happy. We'll learn that in some minutes from now. Now, before this Rajasuya is supposed to happen and these responsibilities are supposed to happen, Lord has to ensure that Jarasan is being slayed. And this time Lord has decided, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to ensure that Bhim is going to take care of it. So now the three people, Bhimsen, Arjun and Bhagwan Shri Krishna, take a disguise, go in front of Jarasan. Jarasan, there's a specific time slot wherein he meets people and greets people. At that time, they take a form of, they take a different form and they go and say that we are here to seek battle with you, we want to get into a warfare with you. And he's trying to ask for introductions, and eventually he identifies, please tell me who you are. And Jarasan is like, you are Arjun, you are not equal in fight and might with me, so I'm not going to do a war with you. Krishna, I've destroyed you multiple times. Bhagwan is like, 17 times you lost in front of me and you're telling me that you were the one victorious just because I ran away once. I did that for benefit of others. So I don't want to deal with you right now. Okay, fine. So Bhim is here. You can fight with Bhim. He's the only one who can fight along with me. Fine, they start fighting against each other. And this is the time and space where Bhagwan Shri Krishna gives an inspiration to Bhima, because Jarasan needs to be destroyed. Until Jarasandha is not destroyed, the kings that have been captivated, who had extolled Lord that please free us, cannot be removed. So by merely tweaking a branch, a small branch, tears it apart, throws it in the opposite direction, Bhimsen understands that this is how I need to kill Jarasandha. In Mahabharata, Bhagavan is a kingmaker. He's playing the role of a director. He's directing the entire Mahabharata. He's not the actor, he's not the front-facing person there. He's playing a supporting role there. But here it's him who's playing the divine role. So even if when Halahal is being drunk by Shiva, or Brahma is creating the Shrishti, or Bhimsen is destroying Jarasan, it's his will, it's his desire, it's his action, it's his guidance, it's his Leela at the end of the day. Because of which all the kings that were there at Jarasan's, they become free and they recite this one verse which we all know together, and we'll recite it. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Pranata Kleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. And now the Rajasuya Yajna starts. These roles and responsibilities start. But there's one person that needs to be liberated, because when everyone is asking whose puja should we do first, there's this one person who had an issue and his name is Shishupal. Shishupal utters the words that he's not supposed to, Lord forgives him till a certain extent, and then he crosses his lines and boundaries. Lord's Sudarshan Chakra ensures that Shishupal is taken care of. And in an open assembly, everyone gets a sight of a soul getting submerged in the Lord's body, in the Lord's feet. That soul, that same soul that we spoke about certain time ago, is like 10,000 part of your, your tiny hair. That same soul could be seen by everyone. That soul was leaving Shishupal's body and eventually getting submerged in Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Shishupal is slayed. Lord can set such timelines which are beyond our imagination, which are beyond our explanation, which are beyond our understanding. And how is he setting up that timeline? A place where there had to be land had water, a place where had to be water there was land. The concept of Jal and Sthal came into the picture. Duryodhan slipped his leg. And Lord, the beauty about Lord is, Where Krushna is not doing something, he is ensuring something being done by Krushna. Where Krishna is not doing something, he is ensuring that Krushna does something for him. And who's this Krushna? This Krushna is no one but Draupadi. One question had come that why Draupadi has 5 husbands. While doing the penance in the previous birth, she asked for 5. She asked 5 times. Now, as much as people talk about 5 qualities, etc., part of it, the fact of life was she asked for Pati Dehi. She asked it for 5 times. Shivji blessed her. And at the same time, she also received some additional boons, stating that she'll be able to balance it out. And since we are talking Mahabharata, I have this one question. Please try to answer this question. Who killed Kauravas? That's a out of the park one. I like that one. I'm applauding for you. I'm applauding one for you. वाह क्या बोला है? There you go. દીકરો લાઈન પર છે. ચિંતા નથી. You said Pandavas, but who amongst the Pandavas? Vrukodar. One brother, 100 brothers. And that's why Dhritarashtra's pissed. He's mad at Bhimsen. He's angry. We feel why blood was needed. Please remember one thing. If you read Mahabharata, you will realize something that is yours should be yours and you can fight for it. At that time, please don't preach the principles of Ahimsa Paramo Dharma. How much of an attachment Arjun had? Arjun Vishad Yoga. What is it talking about? Oh no, these are my family, my teachers, my grandfathers, my children, my grandchildren, my extended family. I am feeling distressed. Gandhi is not staying in my hand. It's slipping from my hand. Please tell me what to do. Same thing happens to us. I have to sign a business deal. I don't know. There's a risk. I don't know what is going to happen. A decision might take the fate away from my company. Could make the company in my way. It's a part and parcel of life. You are supposed to do your dharma. That's exactly what has been prescribed in Gita. Ma phaleshu kadachana, right? So yes, Duryodhana is someone who has so much amount of jealousy that he just cannot see good things about the Pandavas. And time and now Duryodhana is someone who has made attempts to kill Pandavas. You take Laksha Bhavan or feeding Bhim incorrectly, throwing him in water so many times. Even setting spies so that they are Gupta, the Gupta Vanvas is also taken care of, or the Gupta Vas is also taken care of. Shalva eventually encounters with Yadavas. Lord liberates Dantavaktra. Who is this Dantavaktra? Dantavaktra is one of the brothers of Jay and Vijay. Which was the question that came, right? Baldevji has been instructed to go for Tirtha Yatra, and in middle he happens to kill Sutaroma Harshan. while he kills Sutta Romaharshan, the Brahmanas requested that you need to go to holy places in order to rectify the act that you have done. But what shall we do? And here's a small thought. Baldavji is saying that since Romaharshan has passed away, his son will be the one who will take the lead and guide you with the principles. Until now, we were listening to the stories where Lord was victorious. But now try to listen to a story where Lord was actually defeated. And that's when comes the story of a friend who is actually not named in Bhagwatam. There's a friend of Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Yeah, he's a friend. How is he? He's rich when it comes to spirituality. He's extremely rich when it comes to being spiritual. You know, you see some divine aura in certain segment of people. You feel they are so positive, they are so nice, they are so energetic, they are so different. They have a different segment of vibe altogether. How is he? He's a Brahmin. How is he? The next word which is being utilized is virakta. Someone who's detached. It's the story of friendship. It's the story of Sudama. Irony of life, the friend is not named in Bhagwatam. A safe space where you can be unfiltered, you can talk about benefits, you can talk about your insecurities, you can talk about your shortcomings. And that's why it is called Maitriyam, Mitra. And look at what Subhashits say. Alasasya kuto vidya. Someone who's lazy, how will that lazy person have knowledge? Avidyasya kuto dhanam. Someone who doesn't have knowledge, how will that person earn money? And now the second half of it is actually applicable in this current era that we are in right now. Avidyasya kuto dhanam, adhanasya kuto mitram. If you don't have money, will you be able to make friends? Now please observe your college lifestyle. Please observe your current lifestyle. Please observe the kind of friend circle that you have, or the friend circle that your children might have, and tell me how much role does money play over there. The kind of schools that you put your children in, don't you make friends there? The kind of clubs that you join for recreational activities, don't you make friends there? The kind of classes that you enroll in and you pay the fees for those classes, the kind of friends that you make over there. The kind of lifestyle that you had resided during your college days and the kind of friends that you made over there at that given point of time. And hence it says, adhanasya kuto mitram. And look at the last statement that has been made by the Shastras. It says, amitrasya kuto sukham. Where is life? Where is happiness if you don't have a friend? Kuto sukham. Where is the happiness if you don't have a friend? Tomev bandhu cha sakhatvamev. Bandhu cha sakha. This is the story of the third friend. It It is said that they are friends. Then the wife is like, okay, fine, why don't you go and meet the Dwarkadhish once? If he's your friend, he'll acknowledge you. I'm not going. You require a lot of negotiation front and back in order to ensure that someone is going to get ready. And this is exactly what Sudama's wife, she has a dialogue with Sudama. And she's not sending him empty-handed. She doesn't have even proper clothes. She has multiple tone clothes, and she's tying them up all together just to make a small potli, a small portion of tandul, which you call it pawa in some language. But I'm not sure if that same word has been utilized. If that same word is being utilized in Bhagwatam. It's a question mark. Now someone who doesn't have much money is going to meet Dwarkadhish. And the time when he's remembering Bhagavan Shri Krishna again and again and again. And the minute he enters the Dwarka, he asks the gatekeeper, where can I find Dwarkadhish? Look at the answer. You go to any of these, you will find Dwarkadhish there. What happens when you meet a friend after a long period of time? The minute Bhagavan Shri Krishna gets to know that my friend has come, he runs away. He runs to receive him personally. I remember, this is a very, 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 very strong message communicated in context with personalization and welcoming people. I remember Sultan Qaboos coming down to receive his teacher, who happened to be the then President of India. He didn't come to receive the President of India. He came, I'm coming down because he was my teacher. And he has in-depth, back when your king was alive, he had said this, that I have in-depth love for India because I've learnt under such a good teacher. You go beyond boundaries for your teacher. That's what you saw in Kali Yuga. And that's what you're seeing in Dwapar Yuga. Bhagavan goes and gets his friend. And where does he welcome? Paryanke, bedroom. Hall nahi. Inner room. And since he is a Brahmin, he is ensuring that he is settled down. And Padav. The Lord is ensuring that the feet of Sudama is being washed. The current generation, you. And now the wives of Bhagavan Shri Krishna are wondering what is happening. What is happening? Why is the Lord of the universe trying to behave like this? And then Sri Thakurji is having conversation. He's trying to speak with Sudamaji and tries to remember all the old days. Now it happened so that once they had gone to cut the log of wood, a small portion of food was given to each of them. Sudama was hungry, so he had his own food. But he also happened to take away the portion which was left for Bhagavan Shri Krishna, which was meant for Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Since he ate his portion of the food, he never had wealth in his life. And all this while, when Sudamaji was residing, there was a small package which was irritating him continuously. And Bhagavan Shri Krishna is testing him, he's not giving it. So Bhagavan is like, do me a favor, these are all my wives. See, I've been a very peaceful human being. I've only married to 16,008 wives. So why don't you bless them? Now he's trying to give blessings, and Now Lord is like, oh, you'll get tired, do me a favor. They'll touch me, you give me your blessings. And while Sudama ji is giving the blessings, Bhagavan is snatching that parcel. And while snatching away that parcel, this is one question mark which is always there with us, whether the Lord is accepting whatever we offer or not. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. Even if someone is offering me with love and devotion, the condition is love and devotion. You offer me a leaf, the tulsi patra, your flower, the pushpa that you are offering, the fruit or the water, I'll accept it. And here's when the Lord starts accepting the food that was meant for him, in the meanwhile, Sudama is getting all the things that he was devoid of over the period of years. He wanted Aishwarya, got Aishwarya. Wanted a house, got a house. Wanted a change in lifestyle, got the change in lifestyle as well. But the Lord keeps on questioning him, do you need something? Do you need something? Do you need something? Do you need something? And he's like, no, 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 no. See the role of a friend. You are in a calamity, he won't ask you how much do you need. He'll just come and give it to you and he'll tell you if it's falling short, tell me again. And there's no question of repay. Because here love overpowers money. What's the worth of your millions if it cannot help your friend who's in dire need of something? Or what if that friend feels a little weird while asking for an obligation? Obligation. How is this obligation a word in friendship? And what is the biggest gift you can give to your friend? Please tell me. Mercedes? Rolexes? That's it. The biggest gift that you can give someone is time. I think that's exactly where we all are struggling. Time for children, time for parents, time for grandparents, time for friends. My mom keeps on asking me, why do you rakdo fire at night? I'm like, that's the only time I can meet my friend. I'm happy to sacrifice my half an hour sleep if that lovely human being in my life can see me for 30 minutes and feel happy, I'll give that time. And I'm sorry if I'm sacrificing my time with you, I'll make up for that too. Because my investment in them is going to help me when you are not okay. Not from an expectation of that they'll stand by me. But they'll have that simple urge and love for you as well that they'll come to help me out. This is friendship. And even if they don't come down to help me out, their thoughts are going to be with me. Their strength is going to be with me. Their support is going to be with me. That's all you need in friendship. And a new term, soul friendship. What is soul friendship? If you ask the Westerners, they'll tell you it's one soul residing in two bodies. So many instances wherein you feel something and your best friend gets to know that, you know what, something is not okay. That's friendship. Because it's out of purity. Because it's out of zero expectations. That's a bond and that's a friendship. Krushna knew what Sudama wanted. Did he even mention about it? Sudama's continuously denying it. No, I don't want it. I've met you, that's more than enough. And despite all of these things, Sudama achieves one thing, and that is wealth. While he goes back, he sees that his house is not there anymore. A newer format of house is there. Someone as beautiful as divine is coming down and welcoming, oh, I'm your wife. Sudama is like, none of these is happening. This entire house is God's gift. This is where God will do Mangala. This is where God will do Rajbhog. This is where God will do his Shringar. This house is his. I'm going to live outside. I want to live somewhere else. I'll tell you a small story in a similar fashion. There was a husband and wife staying in a house of Thakurji. Since the Thakurji came into the house, they started staying outside of the house. It started raining. They were still adamant that I'm not going to stay in the house. Finally, Thakurji got tired and said, please, bhai, andar aao na. Why are you getting troubled in the rains? That's when they felt that, you know what, it's fine because Thakurji is allowing us to stay in the house. That's the reason I'm going to stay in the house. You go to certain Vaishnavas' house, even if it's a one-room kitchen, forget the bedroom, they'll still say, "Tame Thakurji na ghare aavya cho." Humility. Eventually, this is what we need to learn from Bhagwan Shri Krishna's friendship. So yeah, there is one place where he has lost, and that's to his friend. Now, it happens so that two mothers have united. Yashoda ji and Devaki ji, please. Yes. Sure. He treated him like a friend. But since yes. Sure. On one side, he has studied the scriptures. He is living by the rules and regulations and the guidelines which have been provided in the scriptures. During his tender age of friendship, he might have not understood that this is the Lord. But with continuous practice, eventually when he knows that Dwarkadish is the Lord, now he knows that he is the Lord. Consciously, he might be not aware of what he might have done. But now when he already knows it, he's more humbler as a human being. And this is why educating yourself is essential. And look at the kind of selflessness that Sudama still has. Despite knowing that the Lord is there and I can get anything that I want, he's not making the same mistake that Dhruv had made. But he's doing the same thing that Prahlad had asked for. Nothing. And that's what the question was today. Bhagwan paase mangu ke nahi. તમને માંગતા નહીં આવડે. Yeah? Sandipani ji would have knew. But it can only be assumed. Because nowhere in the fragment, and yeah, Sandipani eventually knows, reason being, he gets a Guru Putra back. Krishna's return gift as Dakshina, as Guru Dakshina, was to get his son back. Now, who gets a dead child back? That is exactly what will happen now. When Devaki will be able to see her six sons. So Devaki and Vasudev knew that this is Bhagwan. Nandaraj ji and Yashoda ji didn't know, but over the period of time, even they got to know. And this is what bhakti is. From not knowing to start knowing is bhakti. So I hope I've answered the fragment of question. Devaki ji and Yashoda ji are having conversation. Draupadi ji meets the queens of Bhagwan Shri Krishna. They also have a conversation. Despite having Lord in the house, Vasudev ji has an urge of doing a sacrifice. Vasudev ji has an urge of doing a yagna. Narad ji is explaining, hey, you have everything in your house. The one who accepts Yagno by Vishnu, that Vishnu is in your house, why you still want to sacrifice it? Why do you still want to engage into something like this? when you have everything and still you need something more, I think it's a time for reconciliation. See, there will be times and phases where you'll lose faith. Whenever you're losing faith, kindly reconcile. Revisit the same scriptures in a different angle. You will realize that some additional meaning is coming out of that scripture, which you had not explored earlier. And that is why it is said for Bhagwatam, Pibatam, Bhagavatam, Rasamalayam, Muhuraho, again and again and again and again. Devaki wanted her 6 children back. Bhagwan Shri Krishna gets them back. Now Arjun is not just going to be a friend. Arjun is going to get the responsibility of Bhagwan's sister, and that's Subhadra. Krishna visits. Yes, she could meet all those 6 babies back. Sure? We had a conversation about it, so I'll tell you. Kans couldn't kill, but the society people were saying that the 7th baby has got transferred. And the 7th baby was no one but Balram. And even before Gargacharya ji did the name, Lord himself had claimed that he's going to be Ram, he's also going to be known as Balram, and he's also going to be known as Sankarshan. શું થયું? Since the 10th canto is coming towards the end, now even the Vedas realize that we also need to extol the Lord. Vedas in their own capacity try to extol the Lord. Bhagwan somewhere in the Katha I had previously mentioned that there will be a Rishi who will test the Tridevtas. And it happened so that this responsibility was given to someone called as Rushi, Bhrigu Rushi. Now Bhrigu goes to various lokas and does various forms of activities till that extent that he goes to Vishnu Lok and slaps Vishnu, kicks Vishnu actually, not slaps, on the chest. And while that kick is happening on the chest, the next reaction of Bhagavan Vishnu is, are you okay? I hope my hard chest hasn't caused trouble to you. See, you insult Mahadev is going to ensure that you are done. You insult Brahmaji is going to snap back. But when it comes to Vishnu, he's more stable. And for all those people who might have seen Lalan's darshan, who might have seen Lalan's darshan, Lalan has a small feet on his chest. It's an embarkation of this event that has taken place in the life. To which we all realize that Satvatam Pati, the Sattvic one, is the Vishnu. The last Geet is being sung, which is the Mahishi Geet. And this is where the 10th canto comes to an end, and we transfer to the Mukti Leela, which is the 11th skanda. Bhagavan himself realizes that my dynasty is huge. Since my dynasty is huge, since my Yadukul itself is huge, I need to ensure that they get killed. Even they have been taken care of. Now how do you take care of? By insulting and mimicking in front of rishis, they get a curse stating that you enacted that you are pregnant, and now whatever is going to come out of your body will be the cause of the destruction of the Yadu dynasty. In the meanwhile, Naradji visits Vasudev and explains him the concept of Nava-Yogeshwars. There is one factor which we need to be worried about in our life. Before I tell you more about it, there's a concept. Tell me one thing, are you blessed as humans or no? That's exactly what has been mentioned in the Bhagwatam as well. Durlabho manusho deha. That is a blessing for you that you have got this human body. What could you have been? What could you be? Tell me. You could have been a snake. You could have been an elephant. You could have been a dog. You could have been a bee. You could have been an insect. You could have been a lizard. There are so many kind of creatures that you could have been. But because of all the punya that you might have done and because of the grace of Almighty, all you have been is Durlabho Manusho Deha. Deha. That's this body. And associating in this body with the right kind of devotees, finding the right kind of satsang is also equally essential. Kyunki jaisa sang vaisa rang. The kind of people you are surrounded by will ensure the kind of mood of bhakti you are in. Why did I mention reconciliation is important? And also understanding that Maya at the end of the day is an illusion. You're blessed to have all of these, but you're not supposed to be stuck over here. You are supposed to use all of these for one thing, and that's the service of the Almighty. And at the same time, if you can, try to do service for the mankind, for the humankind. If you want real happiness, you really want real happiness, do one thing, find a guru. Find a spiritual master. What if you don't find one? You have Vallabh. You have an Acharya. Just, even if you walk by the path of the principles that have been propounded by this Acharya, I'll guarantee you one thing, Kalyan will happen for sure. And let me tell you one thing. When you seek questions, Guru appears. And if he doesn't appear, that means maybe this is not the time for you to get the answers to those questions. Further, Naranarayan have been mentioned. The various avatars done by them have been mentioned. What happens to the fate of non-devotees? What happens to the various forms of Lord's worship? Eventually, the Devatas request, Bhagwan, please come back to your abode. We want you back. And Yadavas are prepared to go to Prabhas. And now's the time when one more friend of Bhagwan, Shri Krishna, comes back to him, and that's Uddhavji. Because Lord has a certain amount of Jnana Bhakti. There's a divine information, there's transcendental information, knowledge, wisdom which is lying in him. And that needs to be conferred upon someone. Who better than Uddhav to get those messages? Considering that Avadhut Upakhyan has been mentioned over here, the various forms of gurus have been mentioned over here. I'm not going into the details of these right now, but someday in life, if it's possible for you, try to explore the 11th canto of Bhagwatam. What happens when you are only engaged in worldly enjoyments, when you are stuck in the materialistic lifestyle? What happens to the bondage and the liberation? What happens to the people who are into the devotional service of the saintly person? Lord himself is stating that if you are in the presence of a saintly person, that can help you, that can enhance you, that can elevate you. And in this Kali Yuga, nothing can help you more than a satsang. Satsang. Sat. It's not just in context of sattvic, it is also in the context of truth. Something that helps you enhance your bhakti. Na yogo na sankhya. Na swadhyaya na tapaha. Na tyaga. What helps you in this Kali Yuga is satsang. And how difficult is it to have a satsang? Start at the Mangalacharan. Take up a grantha. Read up that grantha. Read some varta. Conclude with an ashrayapad. Your satsang is done. I've seen so many Vaishnavas in US. They have a free phone call line. They're doing Trivid Leela Namavali. They're doing Purushottam Sahasranam. They're doing all these parts together online. But since the time COVID has gone away, our bhakti has been at house. And we have been outside. If you didn't get this joke, please listen to this katha again. Sanak and his 3 brothers have been conferred upon. Glory of the path of devotion. You know, there is this mantra, Rajadi Rajaya Prasayi Sahine, the Brahmanas recite. A similar flavor of this mantra can be seen over. Na Parameshtham, na Mahendri, ityadi, Narsadhipatyam. It's somewhere on the similar lines only. So for people who want to go with the path of meditation, you want to approach the Jnana Yoga, you can do that. For people who want the path of devotion, you want to stick to Bhakti Marg, you want to stick to Pushti Bhakti Marg, you can go ahead with that. Something that has been confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, that I am everything, is also being confirmed over here. There's a slight revision of Varnashram system as well, which has been mentioned over here. What happens to the people who have renunciated the world, that has been focused upon. Jnana, karma, bhakti, the 3 paths or the 3 highways that you have. What is required and what is not required. Once Sri Mahaprabhu Vallabh was asked, what is better, karma or jnana? He gave a very simple answer. All the roads are appropriate for whomever they are appropriate for, but for me it's bhakti which is more appropriate. In karma you have certain limitations. For example, you require karta, you require the karma, you require the sthana, you require the mantra, you require the kala. If any one of these gets messed up, your karma goes in a different direction. In jnana, you require concentration, but if there are going to be so many vices around us and so many devices around us, I'm not really sure how your focus is going to be sustained. And that's why the easiest way of doing bhakti is to do 2 things, to serve the Lord and to take the Lord's name. And in the process, if you can try and understand the various gunas which are there in you, the sattvic, the rajas and the tamas. What is good, what is not, what is the underlying secret behind these guns, how they affect your body, how they affect your mind, how they affect your decision-making process. And something that we have studied prior to this as well, the 24 tattvas have been discussed again. The incident with the Brahmin has been recited. What happens when you have Sankhya? So Sankhya has been summarized over here. This skand of Bhagwatam is like a capsule. It's like a small capsule that you consume in order to understand the bigger chapters of Bhagwatam. Prior to Pururva's story, the three gunas have been amplified in Bhagwatam: the sattva, the rajas, and the tamas. What happens in the yagna format of worship has been mentioned, not the yoga, the yagna. Dharma, artha, kam, and moksha have been discussed. And now finally, bhakti, which needs to be conquered upon. Bhakti is the most auspicious way to conquer death. Uddhav seeks the blessings of Bhagwan Shri Krishna and eventually retires. Goes to Badrikashram. Bhagavan is now residing. Uddhavji's par. Uddhavji is going. Uddhavji has seeked whatever is supposed to seek from Bhagavan, and eventually Lord ensures that the Yadus start fighting amongst each other. And eventually Yadus start killing each other. The Yadavas Thali takes place. Lord, who created his entire family, is witnessing his entire family passing away, dying, withering away. Eventually, all the family relatives are going away. And Lord is peacefully residing. Where is he residing? You all know the place in Gujarat. It's my homework for the next katha. The Lord is peacefully residing with his legs crossed. Yeah, it's of course near Somnath. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna is peacefully residing with his legs crossed upon, and there is a hunter who comes by. The hunter thinks, I can see an animal. The hunter tries to hunt. The bow eventually, the arrow goes eventually to the lotus feet of the Lord. On one side, Lord had forgiven Putna. Over here, the Pardi, the hunter, comes and seeks blessings of Lord. And Lord is like, don't worry. We had some previous calculation from the Rama avatar to be taken care of. You were Bali and I had to take care of you. Now you are Pardi, you are the hunter, you did the thing that you were supposed to do. Don't worry. The way Putna was liberated, even you are liberated. And having said that, Bhagavan Shri Krishna goes back to the divine abode of himself. And this embarks the end of Canto 11. We are now moving towards the Canto 12, which is considered to be the ashray, the refuge of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. There are 5 forms of ashray. It initially starts with how Kali Yuga is going to be and what are the kings that are going to be there in this Kali Yuga. See, we are slaves of history of India, reason being we study the rulers who have come from outside and have ruled India. I think it's time to change the due course of how we are studying history, because we are the land where there was Chandragupta Maurya. We are the land where we had different segments of kings. We are the land we had Maharana Pratap. We are the land of where Holkars were there. We are the land of Maurya, we are the land of Gupta, we are the land of Chola, we are the land of Vikramaditya. So our restrictive format of learning about some rulers who came from outside and they were the ones who were strengthening our system is actually not 100% true. When you read the actual history, you will realize that the kings, the mothers have created some nice kings. Shivaji, for example. It's that Jija Mata who made that Shivaji. What will happen in Kali Yuga? Eventually, it will all turn down that the money will become the king. Vittameva kalo nrunam. And law and justice will only be applied on the basis of power. If you have power, then it will work in your favor, otherwise it won't. Until when people will be married? Till the time they want to be together. The concept of live-in relationship was highly predicted even before the Kali Yuga even stepped in. Who will be considered as a scholar? Someone who's street smart. That's it. Whether he has depth of knowledge or not is a question mark. Where will our beauty lie? Our beauty will lie in our hair. What will be the average age of humans being eventually? Maximum 25 years. Will there be Lord's name after 10,000 years? Nope. Where are we? 5,000 years done. What are we living right now? Bonus. And who will come down eventually? An avatar called Kalki. Dharmatranaya sadhunam. Bhavane Vishnu Yashasaha Kalkihi Pradur Bhavishyati. Kalki will eventually come down. And Kalki will ensure that the Satya Yuga eventually starts. So what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to take the divine name of Lord. How does the world come to an end? The 4 forms of pralay have been mentioned. The final teaching of Shukdev Ji Maharaj is conferred upon Parikshit. Parikshit had asked, do you want to know something more? Vishnuraj, do you want to know something more? No, I'm enough, I'm complete, I am gracious, I'm feeling gracious. Snigdhosmi anugrahitosmi. It's because of your karuna, it's because of your grace I'm feeling more gracious right now. Who am I? I'm adhin to Hari. Hari is the one who's going to take care of me. On the other side, when Parikshit is supposed to face his death, his son Janmejay performs a sacrifice which is supposed to be killing of all the snakes. And while slaying down of the snake is going to happen, the process gets initiated, but there's no success there. In the meanwhile, the Vedic schools have been divided. The branches of Atharva Veda has been mentioned. What are the various characteristics of Puran have been mentioned. Then comes a sage whose name is Markandeya. And he remembers the Lord in the format of Vatasya Patrasya Pute Shayanam Balam Mukundam Manasasmaram. This is where sage Markandeya witnesses the Lord's Maya. Lord Shiva eventually gives a boon to Markandeya. Lord's limbs, Lord's attendants, his weapons have been extolled upon. And then comes the Adhyaya, where the entire Shrimad Bhagwatam has been revised and concised, which is the 12th subchapter of the 12th canto. Namo Dharmaya Mahate, Namah Krushnaya Vedase, Brahmanebhyo Namaskritya, Dharman Vakshye Sanatanan. For all those people who couldn't come for 7 days, here's a small recap. Let's try and revisit all the skandha and certain moments which will give you an idea and understanding of what was included and what was done. The first day, we propounded the purpose of why are we here. And it started by understanding the Mahatmya of Shrimad Bhagwatam. We understand the Mahatmya of Shrimad Bhagwatam, and after that we enter to the first canto, the first skandha, which starts with a conversation between Sut Maharshi and Shaunak Rishi. the questions get initiated and there are answers, and in the form of answers, this entire Bhagavatam comes into the picture. The conversation between Narad ji and Vyas ji allows us to understand Bhagavan ki Gayatri. Vyas ji was someone who had created so many scriptures. And despite that, there was distress, and it was Narad ji who guided him towards doing meditation upon Bhagavatam. And eventually, through his practice, eventually he was boon. He got a blessing of Shrimad Bhagwatam. He could do the darshan of Bhagavatam. We get to know the story of ancestors of Parikshit. Pandava story is conveyed over there. Arjun is praying to Lord. Kunti ji is praying to Lord. Bhishma is praying to Lord. Uttara is praying to Lord. Because Parikshit is supposed to be saved. Parikshit eventually is born. Prior to that, Yudhishthir is taking care of the kingdom. Parikshit looks at various signs and ensures that, Yudhishthir looks at various signs and ensures that his grandson is finally the heir of the kingdom. Parikshit has his own observation about Dharti and Dharma, Bhumi and Dharma. Kali Yuga is entering. Parikshit commits a sin, realizes his mistake. Shukdev ji comes. And then we transit to the questions that have been asked by Parikshit, which are eventually answered in the Skanda 2, Canto 2. And Shukdev ji starts appreciating the questions that have been asked by Parikshit. The various small and the large forms of Lord have been prescribed. Shukdev ji does the introduction, his own Mangalacharan. The various forms of creation have been mentioned. We even talked about the various forms of hell which are there in the lotus feet of Lord, which have been mentioned in that skanda. How Chatushloki Bhagavatam comes into the picture. And how the creation, Atra Sargo Visargasya, is something which comes in the second canto. To which we started with the Skanda 3. The major highlight of Skanda 3, which we were trying to touch base upon, was the Kapil Muni's conversation, Kardam Dehuti. And prior to that, the various leelas that had taken place. Chaturtha Skanda, the fourth canto, refers to your Dharma, Artha, Kam and Moksha. In the fifth canto, we saw Priyavrat, we saw Gangaji ascending, we saw Jad Bharat. Sixth canto and the seventh canto has their own segment of Leelas. You had avatars of Vishnu happening at the same time. You had Vritrasur fighting. We had ended our day with Narsivji's avatar. We understood the Dharma conversation between Naradji and Yudhishthir. We understood more about Manav Dharma. In the 8th canto, eventually we heard something more about Samudra Manthan Leela. Prior to that, we had Gajendra Stuti. We also understood Vamanji ascending down, and eventually we had an avatar of Matsya. In Namaskand, we understood more about Solar Dynasty and Lunar Dynasty. Primarily, we focused more upon Ramchandraji and how the Yadukul was formulated, the Yadavas were formulated, to which we entered the 10th skand with the motto of Krishna avatar, and we said Chaturbishya, 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 Trivistata. So we saw the early age of Bhagavan Shri Krishna transferring from Mathura to Gokul. The Nanda Mahotsav we celebrated in an elongate format. Various forms of demons come and try to slay down Bhagavan, but Bhagavan ensures that he stands by. Bhagavan took care of the Vrajvasis through Govardhan Leela. After Govardhan Leela, we heard about the Rasa Leela. After Ras Leela, we saw Shri Thakurji transferring now from Vraj to Mathura, slaying down of Kansa, going to Sandipani, studying eventually, shifting from Mathura to Dwarka, and while Dwarka was made, eventually gets married to Rukmini. And right from today, we heard about the birth of Pradyumna, the first son of Bhagwan. Until now, we are here towards the conclusion of Shrimad Bhagwatam. And as we enter, the extent of 18 Puranas have been extolled, and that's where the Sutaji is eventually reciting a verse. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutastunvanti Divyaistavair Vedai Sangha Padakramopanishadair Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam na vidussura suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha. The elongated form of Lord has been mentioned over here and has been prayed upon as Devaya Tasmai Namaha. And as we come to the conclusion of Shrimad Bhagwatam, we will recite the last two verses. Prior to that, I'd like to acknowledge a certain segment of people who have been forceful in the development of bhakti that has been there in me, without whom it will be a little incomplete for me to take the... I'm no one to do these things. But even before I say something about them, let's actually conclude this Bhagwatam and let's recite the first verse of Bhagwatam again. And post that we can talk about the various experiences that we have been able to achieve over the past 7 days. So I'll be reciting the verse and you all can recite after me. Bhave bhave yatha bhaktihi padayostava jayate tatha kurushva devesha nathastvam no yatha prabho नाम संकीर्तनम यस्य सर्व पाप प्रणाशनम प्रणामो दुःख शमनः तम नमामि हरिं परम हरये नमः हरये नमः हरये नमः विष्णवे नमः विष्णवे नमः विष्णवे नमः जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेष्वभिघ्नस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि. Shrimad Bhagwatam never ends. It's Ananta. The 7th day might end, but the Leela of Bhagavan never ends. When the first time I heard that a Bhagavatam is supposed to be in English, every day I used to question, will it happen? As much as you find it fascinating and fancy to hear a Vakta in English, a speaker in English, you have no idea what I have been through when I first heard that I have to do this in English. And I can proudly say this is not me who has done it. It's impossible for even a PhD to actually do a Bhagwat Saptah in English with so much amount of dedication. It's only and only and only and only and only possible if you have the blessings of the Lord. It's only possible if you have blessings of the Lord. See, it's not a stage show wherein it's scripted, where I'm reading out the lines which have been mentioned over here. It's an assimilation of an entire thought which has been done, which has been taught by my father, which I'm trying to present it in front of you. You will be surprised if I'll tell you I've not read the translation of Bhagwatam in English. It's a fact. It's a fact. I have them 7 years, but I haven't read them ever. I've read Bhagwatam in the languages that they are supposed to be. So whatever translations that you are seeing here have been processed in a different language and have been churned in a way so that you can understand them. In the process, if you couldn't understand something, then there are two things that can happen. A, the Lord's will was not for you to understand them. B, it was my lack of study that I couldn't convey it to you. Nowhere my elders are supposed to be blamed over here, because the elders who have taught me, I like to quote my grandfather over here, Aditya Shastri, Umretwara. One fine epitome of personality. I'm sure of one thing: if he was here today, he would be super proud. Because he was the one who kept on appreciating my handwriting, and I'm sure he would have appreciated my language. And to the second simplest form of human being I ever saw in my life is my Kakaji, who's Pradyumna Shastriji, happens to be someone who has mentored me and guided me over the period of time. Having said that, my father has played a phenomenal role. He was the one who guided me to do certain segment of things which could be helpful for you all in the Bhagwat Saptah. It's his grace because of which I can sit over here and understand Bhagwatam and convey it to you, all of you. The equal role goes to my mother. The equal credit goes to my mother, because if she wouldn't have been patient and handling my tantrums, I would have never got the time to study, understand, and present Bhagwatam to you. I like to be grateful to all the Brahmins who have been dedicatedly doing the 18,000 verses ka part and the jap, which is for the benefit of the ancestors and the various family members. They have seen me grow, and it's because of their presence and positive vibrations it becomes easy to see. If you might have realized, we are a very principally strong segment of people. We don't skip through certain things in puja as well. Sometimes being off sync is absolutely okay, but we are very dedicated and take religious responsibilities very seriously. We feel that certain family members go away from our life, but their learnings always stay with us. A divine thought of not just thinking about your own self, but thinking about your entire family. I'm grateful to the memory of Shri Gulabsi Khimji and the family members who decided to have Bhagwatam in English. So when Devyani ji decided that I want to have Bhagwatam in English, and that's not for me, it's for my generation to take care of. The question that comes next is whether they'll sit or not. But I'm grateful that the younger generation understood that this is happening for them, and they happily complied, and they were participative in whatever capacity they could be despite of the scenarios that are happening around. And I'm grateful that they could sit over here. Now you might be a family member, extended family member, invited guests, honorarily coming over here, coming out of love and affection. See, if you come once, there's a chance that you might be coming out of the invitation that has been sent to you. But if you're coming again and again, that means you have some love and affinity towards Bhagwatam. So for all those people who are sitting online and listening to us, and you could be with us, we are grateful for your presence in the Paroksha format, in the online format. And for all those who are sitting over here, who've been a wonderful segment of an audience. Now it might be the two daughters, or it might be the child of Devyani ji, or it could be their descendants as well, or it could be descendants even further. If in this entire Katha process, if you could understand something, It's not mine, it's yours. And these are the blessings that are being given from this Vyaspeed to you. You will grow materially as much as you want to, but I wish you grow spiritually. I wish you enhance on the path of righteousness. I wish you explore the scriptures even further in depth. I wish you get surrounded by the right segment of people so that negative vibrations and intuitions never bother you. And whichever decision that you take in life, you always think, is this something that my Lord would have wanted me to do? If that's the intent that will be there, then I'm sure problems will become challenges. Challenges will eventually become milestones. Milestones will eventually become celebrations. And celebration will eventually become bhakti. So more than anything, I hope you get bhakti in life. I hope you get the strength and energy to endure whatever challenges that come by your way. Remember one thing, as much as you want to manage your life, start also managing your death as soon as you can. Because you never know when is going to be your next moment. And it's never too late to start at the earliest. This is your moment, seize it as soon as you can. So to the family who had faith in me, thank you so much. I'm grateful. For all the listeners who were peacefully listening to me, eventually if you've slept away, I'm really sorry for that. But if you're awake and you were listening to me and the Lord inside you was really happy, then I would like to recite the Lord's name once over here and I would like to see your reciprocation. Shri Govardhan Nath Ki Jai. To all the family members who came, to Ambani family, to Merchant family, to Khimji family, to Topranis, to Gokul Gandhis, to all those people, Majitya family, to all those people who could participate in this. Either you can come from discipline or you can come from love. If you came as discipline, Lord will give you blessings accordingly. But if you came for love and affection, Lord will ensure that there's enough love and affection which will be there at your doorstep, at your house, at your brain, at your heart, in your heart. With that, we'll end this Bhagwatam Katha for the Saptaha purpose over here. But may this Bhagwatam guide you for eternity. And if you need any help, I'll quote one thing. मैं कोई गुजरा हुआ वक्त नहीं कि वापस आ ना सकूं. जब चाहो तब बुला लेना. So thank you so much for all your time and patience. Having said that, we rest the stage, we rest the katha, and someday in life our paths will cross again, and we'll see you again. Shri Giriraj Dharan ki jai, Shyam Sundar Shri Amne Maharani ji ki jai, Shri Vallabhadhish ki jai. Lastly, I'm grateful to the management of Orient Club. Thanks to Dharmesh Bhai for the streaming. Thanks to his team for the sound. Thanks to the decoration for the decor. Thanks to Sachin Bhai for getting new pitchway every day. Thanks to Nikhil Bhai for the food. Thanks to the Orient Club for staff for allowing me to come at late night just for when I had gone for a walk. Thanks to Lalu Bhai for all his entire coordination, for his drives, and for all the drivers who took care of this entire event. And anyone who has helped in the smallest of the format or the biggest of the format, deep down gratitude to you. Because of your efforts, something as humongous as this could have been achieved. So thank you so much once again. And for one fine day, can you guys clap? You're the first audience in my life who has never clapped in 7 days. So claps to you as well. Yeah, the stage is all yours. Chaitanya ji, if you have to address, it's family time now.
We all know Shastri ji's name is Aditya. And now that the sunset has taken place, but yet whatever words that I'm going to speak is like a nap before the sun. I really wish to thank Shastri ji and family for the fact that it is only Srinath ji's krupa on us that the Bhagwat Saptah has taken place without any problems. present at the Saptah that are